simply because our wages are so low. I mean, at the moment, we're looking at difference in unskilled labour in Australia. They're paying something like 40% more than they are in New Zealand. So that piece of lamb in New Zealand is expensive for a New Zealand unskilled worker, but it's not a bad price for an Australian unskilled worker.
Yeah.
That's the problem we're having at the moment. But the real issue with meat in this country is they've got to sort out the relationship between the processor and the farmer.
Yep.
A dairy farmer is required to sign a contract for a year of supply. So then the processor can go out there and do the business, knowing they've got a certain amount of product.
But the meat industry
industry's never done that. They're still selling it at the gate. And until somebody grabs hold of that and says, this has got to be the fundamental for change in the meat industry, it'll never happen.
Yeah. Well, I guess this will be music to your ears. The new chairman of Beef and Lambs Farmer Council, Malcolm McConaughey, he says the industry's allowed itself to get fragmented and there needs to be a drawing together to really focus on the research and policy areas that matter to all. Do you think that's going to help? Do you think it's going to make changes?
The only research farmers need to do is to go out and eat more food. Become gourmets, become foodies, understand that what they do is something to be proud of, and then they have a product that the rest of the world is prepared to pay very high prices for. I'm quite happy to justify prices for New Zealand lamb when the lamb is fantastic. What I get upset about is when the lamb is not fantastic and the price is still high.
And you're paying the fantastic prices.
And that's where the differentials are. We have to find out a way to encourage other people to pay the highest amount of money for our food. The first way to do that is not go into a lab and get a scientist to discover something. It's to get farmers to discover how damn fine the food we make is, and to become
really go out there and
market
it themselves and in that way. Yeah. Now, moving on, the government's broadband plans doesn't seem to meet with much favour from federated farmers, but maybe they're being unrealistic in what they're looking for the rural sector, Alison.
Well, it's the topography of the country that is the problem, isn't it? It's trying to get broadband or any sort of technology like that into the rural areas is very difficult, isn't it? Although the talk seems to be more about rural towns than actual farms. But, you know, you're down a no-exit road that's 10 k's long, trying to get broadband to there is a very difficult job, just like it is electricity. And
there's suggestions that on some farms down in the South Island where they're having trouble attracting staff, if they can offer staff broadband access, that's quite a winner, especially for youngsters in terms of working there and looking at basing themselves in that sort of area. What do you make of that, Keith? Should we be saying this is the key to getting those staffing levels on rural farms up to where they need to be?
What I can't understand is New Zealand is a country of small communities. Even our biggest city is a collection of small communities.
Absolutely.
Why doesn't the government empower those small communities like we used to do to find their own solutions for that community and then fund the good ideas that come back, instead of sitting there like Stalin in Wellington saying, you will have it this way and we will deliver you glass fibres from here to there and everywhere else, and then we will be in charge of it. Let's give the communities back the opportunity. Talk to the local farmers. What do they want? What do they need contact with the town in the middle of where they live? What do they need, not what does Wellington need?
Do you agree with that, Alison? Do you think that's
that's what they've sort of ruled out, haven't they?
Absolutely.
The regions deciding for themselves what to do. Oh, God. Yes.
Too complicated.
Yes.
Yeah, far too difficult. All right, well, moving on. Organics. There's been an expert, Catherine DiMatteo, speaking. She was on National Radio's Rural Report earlier in the week. She was saying that we need a more collective government approach which incorporates the organic sector rather than treating this area as a niche. What do you think, Alison?
Well, it goes back to something I said before, that the government was foolish to withdraw that assistance program that they had to encourage education into organics. I mean, the flag bearers are the dairy industry, which apparently increased by 400% in the last 2 years.
And the wine industry is also a big player in the organic area.
I would suggest that they're way behind at the moment, but that's another argument entirely. I think what we have to understand is there's been a lot of talk that organics is a cost plus, and it's a value plus to the product that you make, but it's not. It's the starting point now. If you want to be at the top end of the food market around the world, if you're not organic, you're not in the game.
Right, so...
And if the little old New Zealand wants to be at the top end of the game, it's not something we've got a choice on. People have to buy New Zealand in the understanding that it's clean, green, organic and sustainable.
Yes.
Right.
They're not options we have anymore.
No, I agree.
No.
Yeah.
So the kiwi fruit industry has had the right idea there in terms of moving the industry as a whole
Absolutely.
towards more of that level of what goes on with the organics sitting out there at one side of it. Okay, well, moving on to the pork industry, a favourite subject of yours, Keith, the draft code of animal welfare. There's a suggestion, this was in a story in the Farmers Weekly, that sow stalls might be phased out by 2017. These are just delaying tactics, aren't they?
Of course they're delaying tactics. We're talking about an industry. I mean, the Pork Industry Board has been responsible in terms of its overview. It's supposed to be encouraging export of New Zealand pork.
Yes.
Exports fell 57% last year. It's supposed to be encouraging greater returns to the farmers. Farmers' prices for pigs went down last year. Imported prices for pigs went up.
Yeah.
What the hell are they doing? And in the meantime, they're supposed to be giving the industry an image that gains the support of all New Zealanders. They blew that one too.
Yeah, they're just sitting on the status quo.
They should all be
basically.
sacked and start with a new one.
Yeah,
Then
why
we'd get a
aren't they
better
listening?
industry.
I mean, in 2004, when they did the first Code of Welfare, there were 52,000 people signed a petition, promoted by the SPCA, to change things, and it still hasn't happened.
Yeah. Oh, well,
hopeless.
we'll keep waiting.
Yeah.
After the break, it's you beauty, praise, or a bollocking, boots and all. Stay with us. Welcome back to Straight Talk. Now it's on to you beauty, praise, or a bollocking, the opposite. Now, Keith, I believe you've got a beauty out of the wine industry this week.
Yeah, Ivan Sutherland, he made a speech at a leaders' debate at the Romeo Brigado conference, which was held last week, and he said things I think should have been said 20 years ago. He was talking about quality. Now, the New Zealand wine industry is very glib about quality. It talks about it all the time without anybody ever really understanding what it is. But Ivan made it very, very clear. It's about craft, it's about developing wines that relate specifically to a piece of land. It's about creating differences that the rest of the world recognises rather than the mass production industrial agriculture that we've been undergoing in the wine industry in the last 20 years. Now, Ivan knows...
Yeah, he's got the experience
He's
to
got
be
the
able
experience.
to say these things.
I mean, he's the head of the Marlborough-based viticultural research organisation that sort of runs in a number of universities. He is also a grape grower from the beginning in Marlborough. For a long time, he was the viticultural manager at Cloudy Bay. So he understands the quality sector, and now with his own winery, Dog Point, everybody around the world is talking about how good those wines are. So he's a very smart operator. He's made a profit doing it, so he understands where the market is and how to make it successful. I just hope everybody was listening.
Yeah, how were his comments received at the conference?
There was... The response from Constellation Brands, which is the biggest wine company in the world and owns Nobelos and Celac and Company in New Zealand, was, we'll have to ask the government to bail us out.
Oh, well,
that was smart, wasn't it?
Yeah. But there were some more reasoned approaches, were there, from other growers?
From a lot of small producers.
Yep.
Remember that of the 540 winemakers in New Zealand, over 500 of them are small. Yet the decisions at Wine Growers New Zealand are made by the big guys, not the little guys. So we've got an unbalanced organisation at the moment, and it's got the same sorts of problems as the meat industry.
Right, okay. And I believe you've got a bollocking.
Oh, I think it's a bit obvious. I mean, he's the biggest target in town. Old Karori English. I'm a Bill, I mean.
Dipton.
I get the dip was good.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how he's run the scam about South Canterbury finance. I just think it's appalling. And the fact that a finance minister of the New Zealand government is prepared to run this sort of scam on New Zealanders, I think is disgraceful. Every single one of us is paying $400 towards trying to save that company which got itself in the poo. I don't understand how allowed that to happen.
Now, Alison, I believe you have a beauty this week.
Yes, Organics Aotearoa New Zealand is announcing today its Organics Award.
Yes.
Producers, individuals, enterprises and exporters. So people who are interested in applying can go onto their website and apply now.
That's great.
Only a trophy and a pat on the back as a prize, but they said it has a lot of mana
a lot
involved.
of recognition within
Yes.
the wider
Yeah.
farming sector.
Yeah.
And I believe you've also got a bollocking this week too.
Well, I have a personal interest in Stevenson's project to turn some of our beautiful farmland into an industrial park just north of Drury and south of Ramarama. They've bought up or are intending to buy up about 900 acres to turn into an industrial park because they say there's not any available land anywhere else in Auckland.
But that is beautiful horticultural land, isn't
Horticultural, it was a dairy farming area, there's glass houses, there were chook farms, and the locals are up in arms. They've formed themselves into a group and they're going to fight it all the way to the Environment Court, I would think.
Well, I have a new beauty. Plant and food research scientists who've been involved in the recent sequencing of the golden delicious apple genome, which shows it was likely to have been domesticated in Central Asia. Who would have thought 10 years ago such things were possible? That's all we have time for this week. Thanks to my guests, freelance journalist Keith Stewart and former agricultural journalist turned journalism tutor, Dr. Alison Oosterman. Thanks to you for watching. Please email your comments to country99tv.co.nz. Check out my blog there, and we'll see you next time.